So if you think that a director cannot combine Bill and Ted with Interstellar and sprinkle in some aliens, you're wrong. You're wrong on that one. Denis Villeneuve directs Arrival. Arrival tells the story of linguistics expert Louise Banks, portrayed by Amy Adams. She's recruited by the military to find out what these alien beings are here for. There are these alien creatures. They have arrived in these ships all over the planet. There's 12 of them total, these things that they call shells. And she is recruited to try to talk to the aliens, try to figure out why they're here, what do they want, where are they from. She is joined by Ian Donnelly, portrayed by Jeremy Renner. He is a theoretical physicist, and the two of them, a linguistics expert, theoretical physicist, they're going to try to decipher what's going on with all these alien ships that are on the planet. The film's a really interesting exploration of how two foreign species might attempt to communicate. It reminds me of a time that is long gone, back when travelers, world travelers, could travel to another part of the globe, and you might encounter people that have never met, have never communicated, have never interacted whatsoever. They took that concept, and this is on an interstellar scale. How do two foreign species even begin to communicate? You'd have to figure out how to tell the other species that you're attempting to communicate in the first place. How do you decipher language? How do you decipher intent? How do you decipher meaning? Don't know. That's why I believe the theoretical physicist makes sense, because he's there to try to communicate math-wise, and she's there to try to communicate language-wise. Tiny little thing, I did like that the film took place over a not famous city. This is not a spoiler or anything, but it's not like the alien craft is hovering over New York City. They even mention that in the movie. They don't really know why the ships are where they are, let alone where they came from or why they're here. It's also very realistic in portraying how I think human beings would react. Very delicate situation. Don't know what's going on. Is someone going to freak out and push that red button? The United States has to coordinate with all these other countries. It's a global effort to try to figure this thing out, and all of the countries across the globe have to work together. It's hard to talk about plot without spoiling this one. I'll just say very quickly that there's more to the plot than you think. It's more than just aliens land, what do they want, we're gonna have a conversation. It's more than that. It goes deeper than that. As the trailer says, with a mind-bending ending that you'll never see coming. It is cool. They do something in the movie that kind of doesn't allow me to talk about the plot. So I'll just give a brief little spoiler warning here. You can click to this time code right here if you do not want any more spoilers. Spoiler warning from here till there. Click there if you don't want them. So if you've seen the movie, you know that it really explores the idea that time is possibly not real. Time is just this word that we came up with to describe how we experience events in a linear fashion. Whereas these alien beings, they do not experience events in a linear fashion. They can sort of access different points on a timeline at will. It's very similar to the time traveling in Interstellar. This idea that you have a species or a being or some more advanced creature than us that has to convey to us three-dimensional Homo sapiens this notion. Time is something that you can step out of and observe in the same way that we can observe the fabric of space around us. We live in 3 dimensions, but actually we kind of live in 4. I touched on that in my Interstellar review. As Neil deGrasse Tyson says, you can't tell someone that you're going to meet them without giving them a spatial coordinate and a time coordinate. The time coordinate we can't control, it just sort of keeps going. But these beings, they communicate with Amy Adams through her future, which informs her past, which is now. It's sort of Bill and Ted logic. In Bill and Ted, they get caught at the police station, and Ted's like, trash can, I have to remember to get a trash can. And then all of a sudden a trash can falls on the guy in front of them, because later on, Ted will go get a trash can and drop it on the guy in front of them now. Because he'll do something in the future, it affects the past, which is actually his present. What? That scene with where she was calling the guy on the phone, and she was telling him what his wife told him, but how did she know that? Well, she knew that because he told her that in the future. But because he told her that in the future, she is now aware of it in the past.
He didn't tell her. She already knew.
She already had been told. She was remembering something that had yet to have happened because it had already happened. Because when you can access your own timeline at any point you like, there really is no past, present, or future. There's just
options.
There's just options, yeah. As Neil deGrasse Tyson says, so when were you born? Well, you're always being born. When did you go to college? Well, you're always going to college. If you choose to jump into that point or this point of the timeline, cool stuff. And then they throw in the 3,000 year thing. Oh, in 3,000 years, we'll need your help. But in 3,000 years, they won't need our help. In 3,000 years, they've already received our help. As you said after the movie, they phrase it that way to us because we experience time in a linear fashion, whereas they experience time in a non-linear fashion. That also calls into question, do we have control over our path? Do we have choice? If you can step out of your entire timeline, then that means your timeline's already there, which means you've already done everything. So do you really make choices, or do you just experience them in a linear fashion? What? Overall, guys, definitely see this one in the theaters. This movie had a ton of surprises. It's very cerebral. If you like science fiction, if you like smart films, if you like having to think a little bit more, expand your mind, you're gonna like this film. It had great performances and a really unique and original concept. I can't recommend it enough. Go see Arrival. So guys, Arrival. Did you watch the movie? What did you think about that mind-bending ending that you never saw coming? Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you for watching. And as always, if you like this video and you want to watch me ramble about movies, you can click right there to subscribe.
It's one of my favorite movies since Interstellar.
Yes, makes you think.
Do not pee in there. Gracie peed in Brian's lunchbox.
It's true. I don't know if I want to share that with the world, but there it is. But I will say, someone likes Zelda. That's all I'm gonna say. Whoever was involved in the creature design, they're a Zelda fan. You guys that have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about.